Hey guys, we're here. We have made it to the camera angles section of Module 2, your composition module. So in a similar fashion to the lesson on composition, the composition grids, I'm going to show you the three most common camera angles, and there are a couple more, but to be honest with you, these are the camera angles that I use the majority of the time on my professional shoots. So I know these are the ones that are the most reliable and they are my go-to, and I know that they'll be your go-tos as well. So let's just go over quickly what those camera angles are. So the first one, starting on the far left, this is the overhead position. That's what I call it. I prefer to call it overhead position. You may also hear it called a flat lay. Particularly in product photography, you're going to hear it called a flat lay. If you do a search on Pinterest or on Google, you can just search flat lay. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about whenever I say that. And also, this is referred to as the 90-degree shot. The second camera angle is the diner's perspective. For obvious reasons, that's what I prefer to call it, is diner's perspective, because it's literally the way that you would see your food if you were sitting down at a table looking at your dish. So they also refer to this as the 3/4 shot or the 45-degree shot. And lastly, this is the head-on shot. And this is particularly good for things like sandwiches and stacked items. I'm going to go over next what camera angles work best with specific food items. So you'll know exactly what to look for whenever you're setting up your shot. But this is also called the 0-degree shot. So head on or 0 degree. And these are, I've highlighted the names that I prefer to call them. So overhead, diner's perspective, and head on. So as we go through the video lesson, you will hear me use those particular references whenever I'm going through the composition and through the camera angles in the video lesson. So let's quickly touch on what food items work best with each specific camera angle. So whenever we're talking about an overhead shot, these work really well with pasta, soups, and any type of food that you have that's in a bowl. It's a lot easier to see all of the components in that bowl from an overhead position. Obviously, a diner's perspective can work depending on what is in the bowl and the type of bowl you're working with, and if the food comes up over the top of that bowl. And a head-on shot is just not really ideal. There are ways that you can make it work, but for the vast majority of pasta dishes and soup dishes, you're going to want to go with an overhead position. Also, multi-item plating. So if you have a dish, let's say that you've got a main and you've got a couple sides, an overhead position is really great for that. In the particular sample image that I gave you at a Mexican restaurant, you can see that there are multiple items on a single plate. So the overhead position was a really great option for that particular dish, especially because we incorporated a drink as well as silverware, some chips and salsa, and an additional sauce to go with the dish. Because of all of those components and wanting to make sure all of them were well within the shot and easily visible, that overhead position was the best. So also, any item that's flat, that's completely flat. So think like pizzas and cookies. Those are really good items that would be well suited to the overhead position. Also, crepes would be good, and there's burritos in this shot. So obviously, burritos work really well too. So for a diner's perspective, almost anything can work within a diner's perspective. It's a really easy go-to shot to use. I highly recommend that anytime you do a shoot, make sure you throw in a diner's perspective just in case. Even if you think that's not the look you're going for, it's always nice to have some variety, and it'll get you some practice with that particular camera angle. So multi-dish shots work really well. In the sample image, there's a burger that's kind of the main star of the show, but there is you can see a small piece of some baked potato in the back and also some hot wings that are in the shot as well. So it's a really great way to incorporate other dishes, even if they're not the highlight, even if there may be some ingredients that you want to show that are inside of whatever dish that you've cooked. It's a really great way to use diner's perspective to incorporate those items as well. So sliced food items, cake, particularly in pie, or this works really well with sliced cheesecake as well. So any item that has a little bit of height to it works really well with diner's perspective. And lastly, the head-on shot. So tall cakes, multi-layer cakes work really well. Stacked and other layered items, so think sandwiches, burgers, chicken sandwiches. This particular item in the sample shot is actually a fried salmon sandwich. It's called the Sammy, and it's very delicious. So any item like that works really well. So this is going to be most beneficial for any food item that has layers that you want to be visible. You want all of those layers to be visible. This is a really great option for that. So now that you understand your composition and you understand your camera angles, we're going to jump right into your video lesson. And I can't wait to show you how we break down all of these camera angles into a single shoot. And I really hope you get some good practice with it, and I think that you're really going to enjoy it. So let's jump right into that video lesson.